The movie begins with the last thing we saw in the third part. It is that Po was able to defeat Kai in the world of spirits, and the teacher, Ojo Wei, gave to Po the disobedience of wisdom, and Po after he saved the world. His father came to live with him in his village. And now, we see goats working in an extraction mine. Metals, and suddenly Tai Long and all the goats appear. He is shocked because Tai Long should have been dead for a long time. He went to the spirit world, and Tai Long said, "I am." I came back to get what I deserve from Tai Long. He gets bored in the place and says this time that he is a fighter. The dragon won't stop my intention and dominates. Tai Long. On the metals in the place, and then we go to Bo, who was fighting a big fish at the time. She was harassing the villagers, and Bo was able to overcome it. She has to use kung fu techniques, and then all the villagers greet him because he saved them. As usual, Teacher Shifu interrupts the celebrations. He says to Bo, "I just need you to talk about an important matter." Bo tells him later, "I currently have an opening. There is a new restaurant, and Bo is standing in front of the new restaurant, which he will share with Mr. Ping and will remain." He holds the teacher's staff, Ojo Wei, and announces the opening of the new restaurant and all the village people. They are happy and ask him about the 5 fighters, and Bo tells them that the 5 fighters currently, we are busy with certain tasks and family is starting. The village is posing with Po and Master Shifu. He interrupts the celebrations again and tells him, "We have to talk," and here Bo is the one who leaves the celebrations. They go and talk alone with the teacher, Shifu. He tells him that the time has come for a new phase in your life. You must choose a successor for you, and he must remain the fighter. Dragon and you remain the wise teacher and successor. The teacher, Ojo Wei. But Bo refuses and tells him, I don't want to be the wise teacher, I want the best dragon fighter." Here, the teacher, Shifu, tells him that as long as the teacher, Ojo Wei, gives you his staff, then he chose you to remain his successor, not so that you can open a noodles restaurant. Here, Po told him, "I will not be able to become a wise teacher, and I give people safety. I don't care about anything else." The fighting, and I did not believe it, I remained involved in the fighting, and I have a beautiful idea that you will take the stick of wisdom. He remains the successor of the teacher, Ojo Wei, as the teacher, Shifu, said to him, "No, it will not work. This is not my destiny, and we are talking about this topic without meaning. Arguably, you will be the wise teacher, and you will choose. You are the new dragon fighter, and tomorrow you will meet candidates. And actually, the second day in the morning, it works. A competition at Jade Palace, and each nominated fighter submits his skills and methods in fighting, and then Bo is supposed to choose one of them, and Bo is supposed to try. He imitates the teacher, Ojo Wei, and chooses someone with just his finger. Bo is not satisfied with choosing anyone, and chooses himself. The teacher, Shifu, took Bo to the tree where he was. The teacher, Ojo Wei, sits with her, hoping that Bo finds wisdom and inner peace and knows why should he choose a successor and leave him alone to think and sit with him. He, Bo, sits thinking. But he discovers that there are ideas. There was a lot inside his brain, and he was thinking about different types, eating, fighting, and so on together. Then he sees a person wearing a mask entering Jade's palace. Bo is afraid of the palace and is looking for the thief wearing a mask. But the masked man was hiding well and was trying. He steals legendary weapons when Bo sees him. The masked thief throws a sword at him, but Po dodges the blow, and he holds the stick of wisdom and says to him, You must be punished for what you did and what was convincing." The fighter tells him the Dragon Slayer is the one. You'll like it when he knows you stole his stick. And here, Bo. He gets very angry and tells him that I am the dragon fighter. The thief is shocked and tells him there is no class. You indicate that you are the dragon fighter, and then it begins. There is a fight between them, and the masked person is revealed and comes out. It's a wolf. Her name is Jane, and she attacks Bo with chains, and you try to be content with it and expect legendary things, but Bo. He catches it before it breaks, and Jane provokes Bo. She expected him to steal the staff of wisdom and just run away. Bo takes the matter seriously and is able to stop her. He caught her and grabbed her shoulder, then he arrested her, for she goes to prison, and then the goats come to Bo. They tell him that Tai Long attacked the mine, and he says he will not stop until he destroys the village. The dragon fighter kneels to him, and then Po is surprised. How did Tai Long come out of the world of spirits and goats? He asks Bo for help. Then Bo, thinking about Jane. She tells him that she may have answers. For their questions here, Bo decides to go talk to Jane and her in prison, and he asks her what you know about Tai Long. She tells him that there is a possibility that this is not the case. It's not a Tai Long at all, and it could be a chameleon. Her name is Cameline, and this chameleon, Cameline, has the ability to... She can change her shape into anyone's shape, and she has the ability. She really does this because she is a chameleon and has a soul. Time is a witch. It is the smartest chameleon that can change. It looks like it, and we see Bo being shocked by this and thinking why this chameleon, Cameline, wants to fight him and destroy the village, and decides that he must find her. Till he finds answers to their questions, and then Jane tells him, "It will be very difficult for you to find her because of her. It changes its appearance and you don't know what. Something about her. You should enlist my help because you find her and I will be able to help you in your mission because I have some information about her, so we will meet Bo." He is seriously thinking about freeing Jin, but Master Shifu enters. They should be imprisoned, and Bo tells me, "You are your mission now. You choose a dragon fighter to become your successor. You should not occupy your brain with any other task." Bo doesn't listen to him and frees Jane and tells him it's me. I will do one last task, and then I will choose the dragon fighter, and we will see the fighter, Bo, and the she-wolf, Jin, start next. Their mission, and Bo took with him the Staff of Wisdom. We will then go to gang leaders in the city. Her name is Johnny Bear, and they are the leaders. They gathered because of Cameline, because the chameleon. Cameline imposed his power. They were forced to pay a tax of 50% of their money each a month, and all the leaders do not like this situation. There is a crocodile asking what we are supposed to do, and we act. How does a bear respond to a crocodile and say to it, "We must unite and criticize the witch Cameline"? The crocodile tells him, "You are crazy. You can do this." It changes its shape, meaning it may even be sitting with us on the same table or a surprise is possible. It's me, and this crocodile actually turns out to be the witch Cameline, and they actually transform into their original form and bosses. The gangs are surprised and feel sorry for her. She accepts the apology and finds out that she has fighters with her. A lot is under her command, and she tells them, "I have a goal. I want to achieve it, so I will pay the tribute for sending 60 of you." The bear categorically rejected this talk. Cameline repeatedly bared her fangs and turned around. An elephant attacks a bear because it also wanted to. They agreed on it, and at night, Mr. Ping and Lee were there. They are very worried about Bo, so they decide to move. They go to help Bo in his mission against Cameline. At the same time, Bo and Jane were about to arrive to Johnny Bear's city, and we see Jane telling him that Cameline, "It is available in this city, but first we have to ride. A boat arrives and passes between us to the city, and they go to this restaurant to look for me." "Captain," but Jane is practicing her hobby. Her favorite is stealing, and she goes to play on a betting table with the restaurant owner, and she can. Jane tricks them and wins them all by stealing, while he agrees with the boat captain to take them to the city. Then Bo and Jane sit eating with Jane's money. She won the bet, but then he discovers that Jane was stealing, so the restaurant owner was conspiring. Its men kill them, despite their large number, but Bo and Jane were able to deal with them and Jane. She also used to steal their money from them, but not Bo. He is satisfied with this and lets her return everyone's money. We notice that the restaurant was originally built on a rock, so it sits. He dances with the fight going on inside him, and the guards of the restaurant owner were going to attack Bo a second time. But Bo uses his wand of wisdom and attacks them. With it, he knocks them all out with one hit. But his friend, the restaurant, attacks Bo again and expects him and Jane from the restaurant. And they find themselves on the boat that will take them to the city, and then they move and Jane starts talking. She told her story to me, Bo, and told him that I was already alive in the city of Johnny Bear since I was little and since I was young. Since I don't have a family, I had to steal, so that I can live, but then someone will adopt me. She lived with him, and Bo also told her his story, and he is supposed to find a new dragon fighter because he remains his successor and becomes the wise man of the village. And Jean tells me that he doesn't want this at all, and he knows how to give wise words and advice to people. You tell him about his advice, and you tell him that I am from. My opinion is that you live the life you know instead of what you live. A life you don't know about, and Bo is very impressed. With this advice, we will then go to the 2 miles that were. She starts the work that her men do with minerals and gang leaders give. Give me the tribute she asked for, but pay for it. She wanted more than that and ordered them to leave. They bring a second gold and Camelin, whose goal was control. The world, especially the village of peace where he lives. In it, Bo wakes up from sleep, and a little later, they reach the city of Johnny Bear, which used to be a city. It was very crowded, but Bo loved it and loved the smell of food. In it, Jane tells him, the city is really beautiful. This was before Cameline and her men took control of her. We see that his men are full and take tribute from everyone. The people of the city, and Bo promises Jin that he will eliminate me, Cameline, and then they move to go to a palace. Cameline, but Bo discovers that Jane is wanted by justice because she was a thief, and Jane was not interested in the topic. Until the police show up and arrest Jane, and Bo tried to intercede with the police and get Jane out. He tells them that I am the dragon fighter, but it is the police. Here she didn't know who the dragon fighter was. They arrest Bo with Jane, but they are liberated, they escape, and support is immediately received from. The police are trying to arrest them, Bo and Jane. They run away from them, enter the sewers, and ride on the car, and then they ride on a paper airplane. In the end, Jane takes Bo and they reach a place, an underground secret for thieves and criminals. The place where Jane used to live in the past, but in someone named Teacher Han greets Jin in a way, bad and humiliated, and all the criminals in the place, they raise weapons against them because the old generation stole them. I ran away, and Jane told them that if someone touches me, the dragon fighter will take away my rights. But none of the criminals were afraid of Bo because they were not. They don't even know who this dragon fighter is. And Bo was thinking of fighting them and showing them his strength, but he remembers what Master Shifu said and that he wants him to stay. The wise teacher, Po, decides to remain wise and not. He lets things lead to a fight and tells them what he will resort to violence with his decisions today and spend the rest of his life. His life is full of violence, but criminals understand the wisdom. It is wrong, and they understand that they do not hit Jane violently. One day, they distribute violence to her. For days, Bo tried to make them understand that this was not just what he meant. They left him and walked away, and Bo was upset that they understood the wisdom is wrong, and they go to talk to Teacher Han. And Bo asks him about himself and the people of his village, but he had only heard of Master Shifu. Jane asks Han to hide here for a while. The police forget about them, but Han agrees to leave them here for one night only, while Mr. Ping and Li. They arrived at the restaurant where I was fighting. Mr. Ping enters alone and asks if they are. They saw a panda and his owner the past 2 days. The restaurant became angry when she heard Bo's biography and asked questions. Bing, you know him where he is from. Bing told her, this is my son. I am his father. the owner of the restaurant, and her men. They grabbed Ping by the neck and were going to put him in. The soup is because of what he did, but he enters. They blame me and tell them if he did that to you. So imagine what I will do to you, because I am the one I taught him everything, but unlike him, I am not merciful. Finally, tell me which place is better for you, and we will see me. He was moving around the place and the restaurant. It can fall due to its size, so people in. The restaurant has to tell him that Bo is gone. To Johnny Bear City to walk quickly before. The restaurant was located, but after Mr. Lee and Ping walked in, the restaurant has already fallen into water, and here is Bo. At that time, he knew Jane was only using the wand of wisdom. Mr. Han expels the fighter, Bo and the she-wolf, Jane from the place, Bo and Jane. Then they sneak into Camelin Palace and everyone stays. The lizard guards are sleeping, but Pooh accidentally sneezes. All the guards wake up, but they are able to escape, but they find many traps in front of them and Bo. And with all their skill, they can only count all of them. In a cage, he descends on Bo and traps him, and the cage was there. It is very invincible, and I can't break it with my hands. Lu Jane disobeys the wise man and asks her to help him. She tries to use it, but surprisingly, Jane takes it. She withdraws the stick and gives it to me as a laxative. And it comes out Jane was working for Camelin all this time. She brought it to 2 miles so that 2 miles could happen. On the stick of wisdom, and Jane tells me, boo. First, a rule I learned on the streets is that you don't trust me. Someone also finds out that Cameline is the one who adopted Jane. I raised her for that reason, and her loyalty was to me, Camelin, and Bo. He asks Cameline, why do you want to disobey wisdom? Cameline tells him that I was dreaming of power and authority, and I wanted to be a kung fu teacher, but I was rejected everywhere. I went to learn kung fu, and they told me that I was weak and small and kung fu. It is not my destiny, so I decided to choose another path and learn magic, and I was actually able to get everything. Using magic except kung fu was the solution. I steal the staff of wisdom and open the world of spirits and steal every teacher's kung fu power. At that time, no one will be able to defeat me or speak out against me. She is weak, and Bo gets angry and tries to break the cage. This cage appears to be invulnerable because it is made of. The magic of Bo decides to break the earth, and he really can. He does this and falls to the floor below and meets. There are a large number of his men, Cameline and Bekshish, with them. There was a strong confrontation, but Bo was baring his fangs. He fights with all his strength and is able to outnumber them. This old man then goes out and meets 2 people. Then he throws them over the palace, and they come to him. Jane has the staff of wisdom, and Jane feels sorry for him. She comes to him and gives him the stick, but he turns out to be this trick by Camelin, and this Camelin in the first place. And it was different. She looks like she is hitting Bo and knocking him down from the top of the palace and Jin. The truth is that she is afraid for Bo and does not want him. He gets hurt and finds out that he was able to catch a tree trunk. A lizard from one of his men appears and attacks the fighter, Bo. She pulls him down, but Mr. Ping appears and strikes. The lizard, Mr. Lee, and Bishto lead the 2 to safety, and Bo tells them what happened to him and tells them he's so upset that he trusted Jane and handed it over to her. The stick of wisdom. I wish I had heard what you said. The teacher saw and I sat looking for a successor for me, and nothing of these things would happen to the master. Bing tells him not to be upset about what happened. Something that happens becomes a bad thing, even if everything happens. It is sweet as with time it will lose its flavor. You will not feel its importance, so one must try. Change to make him feel the importance of what is in him. His hand and Bo are convinced by Mr. Ping's words. Cameline tells Jane that it is difficult for you. Or what? So Jane tells her no, on the contrary, and Cameline. You tell her when we need something necessary. We use all methods to obtain this need. Reaching the Staff of Wisdom cost me nothing but a bear, Panda and Jane. Understand that Cameline adopted her because she, a clever and smart thief, who tells her, "The day I see you, I am not smart and I am not smart, and you can't help me, I will get rid of you immediately." Then Cameline goes to open a portal to a world. The spirits return to Tai Long from the spirit world. She takes his kung fu power and turns into a tiger. She accused him of attacking him, throwing him in the cage and killing him. She is very happy that she has obtained the power of Kung Fu Tai Long and opens a second portal to a world. The spirits return to Kai and take his strength as well. And you take the strength of all the Kung Fu teachers who love it. He defeats them, and Jane sees what is happening and decides to break up. About Cameline when she leaves the palace and finds Anne Bo. He was heading to the palace and she was happy that Bo came out alive. She tries to feel sorry for him and tells him that I left. It's a mistake, but she doesn't care about Jane. She is trying to stop him before he fears Camelin Palace and says, "The topic has become dangerous for you," but he is not listening. Her words are because he no longer trusts her, and they go inside. The two are in a strong battle, but the battle is not between them. It ends in a draw, and he tells her, You don't care at all if I die or not." He leaves her and was entering the palace, but Jane hugs him. She stops him and tells him, "Believe me, I am on your side this time. I want to do something right, and he feels it is right." He is honest in her words, and he tells her, "I have to. I face Cameline, and yes, she is stronger than me now. I have to try," and he leaves her and enters the palace with Mr. Ping and me. They arrive and say what to do now. Of course, Cameline has a foreign army and says we must. We also bring an army, and Jane goes to the criminals, those who live underground, and ask them help and tell them the time has come. Do something good instead of stealing and talking. You spoke to them, and you could convince them to attack a palace, Cameline. And on the other side, Cameline she is still absorbing the power of the Kung Fu teachers. And Bo remains. He sneaked in and saw what was happening, and Tai Long was watching. He blames him for what is happening and tells him that the teacher, Ojo Wei, I was wrong when I chose you to remain the dragon fighter and Bo. He tells him that I will correct my mistake and you will see his way out. He makes all the guards run after him and drags them away for the criminal fighters, and a battle begins between them, and Bo comes towards Cameline and says to her, We will take revenge on you and take the stick of wisdom in Cameline." She tells him to take the stick. "I don't have it anymore. I need it done. And now I will use magic and kung fu, and no one will be able to stop me, and I will rule." The whole world is trying to advise her to back off, the evil insider, but Cameline does not listen to it. She turns into Shane and attacks him, and he is imagining it. Teacher Shifu and Shifu tell him, "I am proud of you. You tried the first wisdom, and it didn't work. As a result, use your kung fu skills." In fact, Bo starts attacking her, but they are silent. She became very strong and became many fighters. He tried to fight as much as he could, but it wasn't there. He is capable because he literally fights the strength of every fighter. He faced him in his life, and Jane intervened and expected a cage to come to him. Cameline become fanatical and turn herself into a monster. A giant chases Bo and Jane and is able to catch Jane. And you fly around with it, but Bo doesn't keep quiet and pays attention. This monster can attack him from his hidden weak points. He had a vision of the monster stumbling into the palace and falling on the ground, and then Cameline turns into a panda. He looked like Boo exactly, and the two dragons were fighting each other, and he tries to hit her several times, but she reacts. With all his strikes, Camelin was in control of the fight. It is cut off and cleared of a large number of cages. She attacks Bo and the fighter. Bo is imprisoned and does not fight. He knows how to get free, and he tells Jane that you are hope. Only take the stick of wisdom and try to save me. The situation makes Jane feel anxious to take the stick, but it's okay. You can hit her easily, so Jane uses a stick. Wisdom, as he had taught her before, was able to pay off. Camelin was hit hard, and Boo was left. The cage comes and congratulates Jane on what she did. While they were talking, Camille was withdrawing because she attacks them, but Bo senses it and takes it. The stick, and he hits her with the final blow. He uses the stick and takes the power she stole. He returns it to all the kung fu teachers, and they are all liberated from the cages. And Taelong changes his mind and says, "No, the teacher, Ojo Wei, was right, you were right. You really deserve to be the dragon fighter and all." The fighters bow to Bo and ask Bo. He takes them back to the spirit world, and it actually opens a portal to the spirit world, and all fighters enter, and Tai Long takes Cameline to the spirit world. Thus, he succeeded in his mission and did not fail. It is not important to choose his successor, he tells the teacher. See that Jane is the one who deserves to be the fighter. The dragon and Shifu were shocked and didn't like it. He leaves this decision alone and walks away alone. He starts teaching Jin to fight kung fu and other fighters. The 5 are back and training Jin. And so we have reached the end of the movie. I hope you like it. Enjoy with us. And if you like the movie, give us a like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.